The All-Star Week program dropped today inside of Diamond Dynasty, and I'm here to help you finish it the fastest. So the All-Star Week program is going to be a program that has 100 program points. Inside of the reward path, you are going to be able to obtain 14 set 3 diamonds, 13 of which will be unsellable. At the 100 program points reward, we get ourselves one of 3 packs in which it guarantees the rare round. So you will be able to obtain either one of the 99s from draft day, one of the 99s from home run derby, or one of the 99s from the all-star game. There are 4 different tasks you can partake in order to help you achieve 100 program points, starting it off with the moments. There are 30 program points in total once you complete all of the moments. Inside of missions, there are 60 plus program points, and the reason I say 60 plus is because one of the missions inside is a repeatable one for 2023 draft day, home run derby, and all-star series players. There are also events that you can play with each victory giving you +1 program points, and last but not least, there is a conquest map that is going to give you 20 program points. To finish it the quickest, I would start off with the moments, but I wouldn't do the moments on this tab necessarily. Instead, I would back out to the home screen, go to quick play moments, and inside of there I would enter the All-Star Week moments, and I would complete all of these moments. Now keep in mind that there are 2 chunky moments inside of this. There is going to be one in which you play as the draft day squad against the future squad, and it's going to be a 3-inning game, basically a conquest game on veteran difficulty. And then the final moment is going to be another one where it's a 2-inning game in which you must win on veteran difficulty, where you play as the National League and you basically come back to beat the American League. The other moments are quite simple and straightforward. There are 5 total home run moments, and if you struggle at hitting home runs in moments, what I would highly suggest is for you to go ahead and switch your hitting interface from zone to directional and point the analog stick up so your player tries to hit a fly ball, and then just either catch one hanging or be on time with a fastball, and hopefully you crush it, but it is easier to do it this way. By completing these moments at 30 program points, you will be unlocking 3 draft day series cards, which are important for the missions, all of which are going to be hitters, and 2 All-Star Game Series cards, 2023 to be specific for both, which are also important for the missions. Give me a solid, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Check out the description for our Twitch, where we stream every single day except for Tuesdays at 9 p.m, as well as other links such as our Twitter to stay updated with Blade. Inside of the missions, we have already discussed the repeatable one, but there is a 500 parallel XP with any hitters, 500 parallel XP with any pitchers. These are the first 2 missions you most likely will complete, which will gain you about 10 program points. There is also a play versus CPU, beat the Seattle Mariners on veteran or higher difficulty, as well as an All-Star Week program players, meaning the players you obtain from this program, getting 2,500 PXP with them is gonna net you 10 program points, and then getting on base with the draft series cards, 3 of which you will unlock once you complete the moments. Getting on base 15 times is an additional 5 program points. All-Star Series game players or 2023 All-Star Series players, 30 strikeouts, 18 innings pitched, and 30 hits total will bring you 15 additional program points. And then last but not least, Home Run Derby Series players from 2023 and Home Run Derby Series players in general will also net you 5 program points once you get the 10 home runs. So Blade, how do we build a squad that is going to allow us to do this the most effective way possible, whether we go to play versus CPU, conquest, or events, or which one of the 3 should we go to? Well, let's start off with building the squad. Now, I want you to keep in mind that if you've been doing Team Affinity 3, you are going to benefit greatly from the rules inside of the missions, because if you go into the filters, the first thing I want to let you all know is that when you are playing against the CPU, there is no season requirement, meaning that you can play with set 1 cards. When you are doing this conquest map, very similar to the Nation of Baseball, there are no season requirements inside of this map either. So you can play with set 1 players that fit the criteria of All-Star Game or Home Run Derby cards, and I will show you a couple. But that is beautiful because you can go into your bench if you want to see all players, and then go down to series, and inside of series you can filter by 2023 Home Run Derby players, or you can go ahead and filter by 2023 draft players if you have any, of which I don't, or 2023 All-Star players, in which if you've completed either set 3 collections or team affinity 3 collections, you will have at least Luis Arias. If we continue going down and we go to the pitchers, you will see that we also unlock Shane McClanahan. So those are 2 players that are going to simultaneously work towards some PXP missions as well as stat missions inside of that program. But we're not done there. If we then continue looking through the series inside of the filters and we go to Home Run Derby, you will see that there are set 3 cards that you obtain from Team Affinity that are actually going to be working in your favor when it comes to completing these stat missions. And you will also see that there are a couple of set 1 cards that are also Home Run Derby series players that will also help you get the 10 home runs. But that's not all. What if we don't have these cards? Are there other cards we can use to work on the stat missions? Yes, you can use the All-Star Game cards that you obtained from Team Affinity 3 to also work on the hits missions, and you will also be able to use the starting pitchers from Team Affinity 3 that you also unlock to work on the stat missions as well. So you have plenty of options, plenty of cards to use, and if you don't have any of these because you did not work on Team Affinity 3 just yet, don't you worry. Just go ahead and start filling out your squad with Team Affinity 3 players that you either need to work on for PXP or stat missions, and these guys will allow you to progress through the program regardless, because as I said prior, the first 2 missions that you will complete are the any hitters and any pitchers. The only downside to this mission is that unfortunately it just unlocks another starting pitcher for the All-Star Game series instead of a player. Blade, I got my squad ready. Where are we taking this squad? It's not going to be Conquest, surprisingly. Instead, you are going inside of Play versus CPU. In Play versus CPU, we are going to go all the way down to the west, and make sure that you press down on R1 before entering your first game, or else you will be playing on rookie difficulty. Make sure that the difficulty says veteran. Once the difficulty says veteran, you are going to go ahead and play as home. Why? Because it allows you to select your own personal stadium if you have a created stadium, and if you don't have a created stadium, there are a ton of minor league stadiums that work as a created stadium in terms of max elevation. An example of one is Shieldwoods Park, another one is DCJ Field, Sawyer Memorial, and then last but not least, my personal favorite is going to be Capitol Lange Park. This is where I suggest everyone goes because you are going to be able to get a ton of home runs for the Home Run Derby cards, hits for the All-Star Game cards, and since you're gonna play your first game on veteran difficulty, you are going to get 9 innings pitched out of the 18 total with one of the 2 All-Star Game Series cards that we unlocked with the first 30 program points. And then the next game, it's not gonna be on veteran difficulty, so it should be even a lot easier. Now, I would go out of my way, since this does not require you to have a Season 3 squad, to make sure that my first 4 cards are 99 overalls, regardless of whether they're from set 1, 2, or 3, and then that the pitcher that is an All-Star Game Series pitcher, whether it's Kodai Senga or whoever else, is the 5th best starting pitcher. That way the Mariners also put their 5th best starting pitcher, and I would take that pitcher and squad and I would beat up on the Mariners on veteran difficulty. After you completed the first game, you should have a good portion of the missions done, and if you don't, there's nothing to sweat about because we have to play a couple of more or one more depending on your skill level Play versus CPU game, and you can either use a new All-Star Game pitcher or use the same pitcher. But this time around, you're not gonna face the Seattle Mariners since we already knocked out their veteran difficulty mission. We can play against any team that we want to. So I would find the worst team in terms of contact and power, and I would go ahead and face them. If you want to take it even a step further, you can go ahead and just find the worst team in terms of defense as well. The Kansas City Royals are going to be a great team for you to face, and you're going to be facing them on rookie difficulty, not veteran difficulty this time around. You're going to be playing at home. And once again, I'm going to be using Capital Lane Park. You're going to be hitting a ton of home runs, a ton of hits. You're going to pitch 9 innings again with that All-Star Series pitcher, therefore completing the 18 innings pitched. And because you are playing on veteran difficulty and then this game on rookie difficulty, you most likely are going to either get 30 strikeouts or be pretty close to completing 30 strikeouts in terms of that mission. Now, if it ever comes to the point where you just need 2 or 3 more strikeouts and you're already done with all of the hitting missions, what you can simply do is 1, take them into play versus CPU on rookie difficulty and just pitch the top of the first, get the strikeouts, and if you don't get the strikeouts, just quit out and rinse and repeat until you get the strikeouts, because unlike PXP, whenever you quit out, stats actually register for programs. Instead, for PXP, you need to get to your 8th plate appearance in order for them to register. So if you just needed hitting missions instead of pitching missions for PXP in order to finish the program, or stats in general, instead of playing at home, you would be playing away, and instead of facing somebody like the Royals, you would instead be facing the Rockies away. That way you go ahead and get the benefit of Coors Field and only hit for the top of the first until either your 8th hitter hits for the plate appearance for PXP, or you get the stats done with whichever player you need the stats for. So you might be asking, Blade, but how exactly does that get us to 100 program points? Because if I do all of these missions once and all of the moments, that's only 90 out of 100. Well, I'm under the impression that within those 2 to 3 or however many play versus CPU games you play, you are going to be able to complete this repeatable 1000 parallel XP mission a couple of times in order to get you the additional 10. But if you do not want to grind the PXP for the additional 10, which you could very easily do it single player versus CPU away versus the Rockies, whenever your 8th hitter just quit out, you can instead go ahead and do the Conquest map. But the Conquest map, you're still going to essentially be doing the same thing. The only difference is that you're going to be getting additional rewards, either from hidden rewards or goal rewards, but essentially it's going to be the same thing and probably at a higher difficulty. And if you don't want to take the Conquest route, you can go ahead and take the events route, where for every victory you will be getting a +1. But once again, besides the reward path rewards, it's essentially going to be the same grind as play versus CPU. Instead, it might be a little bit more difficult, as you might be facing an opponent that is very good at the game, or an opponent that just likes wasting your time, which I'd rather not take the chance and just grind it out versus play versus CPU, as that will be the fastest way to finish this program. If you did end up enjoying today's content, please make sure to hit that like button or subscribe button, notification bell. We stream every single day on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern, except for Tuesdays. The description has the link to it, as well as Twitter and other links that might interest you. Have a blessed day and night. Stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out.